This video was made possible through the EA Game Changers program, so big thank you to EA for providing me with early access hands-on to the brand new expansion, which is of course Eco Lifestyle for The Sims 4. This preview event was a little bit different, obviously, with everything going on in the world right now. We couldn't fly out to an event like we usually do, so EA provided me with access to this through my Origin so that I could get hands-on and make some early access videos for you all. And in this video specifically, I am going to be talking about the brand new world Evergreen Harbor and all the townies that come included in this world. So first, the world icon. This is pretty basic. I mean, it pretty much just sums up Evergreen Harbor. You've got some houses that turn green. You also have kind of a pollution state with the grey clouds above, and then also sunbeams, and these are obviously all the effects that pollution have on your town. If you have a dirty area or if you have a more green and eco-friendly area. So yeah, just a nice little run-through overview of the town on this one. Going on into Evergreen Harbor, you can see that this world is made up of 3 specific districts, which we will run through. One of them is in the negative pollution state, one of them is in a green pollution state, and then the other is in a natural neutral state. And then we have the world description, sandwiched between rolling hills of evergreen forest on one side and the waters of the Willowpet Sound on the other. That's the big band of water. Evergreen Harbor used to be the industrial hub of the region. However, as the world changed around it, the region has struggled to keep up. A place where Sims value their community and neighborly love isn't just a pastime. Evergreen Harbor now stands on the precipice of making its own future. The only question is, what kind of future will it be? And we did actually get some new lot types. We obviously got the community space, which I'll be getting into more detail about the community spaces in my gameplay video, which should be up after this one. I think I'm gonna do world overview, then gameplay, and then create a sim probably the day after. And then we also have the 3 separate lots under this, which is makerspace, community garden, and market space, which are also listed. And then we have this eco footprint mode, which pretty much just allows you to see on the map how the pollution in your world is doing. Like I said, this does also affect the base game worlds. So this top corner, this quarry area, currently has an eco footprint, which is green. Enjoy the effects of fresh air and sun rays. Gardening will produce plants and harvestables at a higher quality, and green utility objects will produce more. So these eco footprints do actually have a slight effect on your gameplay. This area's eco footprint, once you load up the game for the first time, is actually industrial from the get-go. So industry is booming. Reap the benefits of selling utilities for more simoleons, having a better chance at rare collectibles, and the household generator and atmospheric water generator producing more utilities. I feel like that's meant to say just produce more utilities, because that didn't make any sense as I was reading it aloud. And then this area is neutral. This neighborhood's eco footprint is neutral. It's time to get out there and make a change. So I will say these do change quite quickly as soon as you get into the game. Like, the gameplay starts to be affected quite quickly, but I'll go into more detail about that in my gameplay video. And surprise, surprise, the neighborhood that looks like a quarry turns out to actually be a quarry. This is Grimm's quarry, to be more precise. When prospector Arnold Grimm's founded his famous rock quarry in Evergreen Harbor, he could hardly have predicted the little suburb that it would spring up around it decades later. Today, a cozy set of homes, apartments, and spaces for community use sits in the shadow of the walls of the striking white stone. I really, really like how this quarry looks in-game. Like, it is so bright. When they say bright, they mean it. So there are 5 lots in total. When it comes to Grimm's quarry, we actually have 2 30 by 20 lots, which are currently just houses. One of them already has people living in it. The other one is empty. Then we have the community space, which is on a 40 by 30 lot, which which is a running theme. Every single community space that we get in this pack is on a 40 by 30 lot. And then we actually have 2 apartments, which I don't know how this is gonna go down. I personally quite like that they've stepped out from just having apartments in city living. And I know that when that came out, I did say it's unlikely that they probably use apartments in any other world because it seems to be like a big selling point. I can't remember the year that apartments came out, so I don't know if this is gonna be taken well. I personally don't have an issue with it, only because those apartments that come with San Myshuno are still only available in San Myshuno. Like, those are completely different apartments, and all like the build buy mode stuff is what makes those apartments. So I don't really have an issue with them putting apartments into this pack. I actually think they're really nice. They're done really well. They work the exact same way. So there's a shell of what looks to be like 4 different apartments, but only 2 of them are actually accessible, which are on the 2 on the top floor. And they kind of look like a little duplex. Like, they look like hotels that I've stayed in America, where you kind of have the corridor outside and then the flats. So yeah, that's how the apartment looks. Let me know how you feel about that. But like I said, I think San Myshuno and city living does keep its value still, even though apartments have now been done. I do obviously feel for those players who pretty much only bought city living for the apartments. However, now you could just say, well, I'm only buying eco living for the apartments that come in eco living. But let me know how you guys feel about that one. On to a bit more detail about the lots. The Quarry building is actually the community space in this neighborhood. The Quarry has been shut down for years, but the building still stands, ready for a makeover that'll transform it from lonely and obsolete to new and fun at parties. And there's also a new lot trait here, which is the natural well. Spring water runs under this lot, reducing utility bills and offering fresh, clean water from the tap. Moving on to the first apartment, which is Stone Street Apartments number 3. This standard 1-bedroom apartment, only minutes away from the Quarry building, is perfect for a single sim or couple looking for an inexpensive place to live in Evergreen Harbor. New lot trait, which is reduce and recycle. This lot generates compostable and recyclable trash, and outdoor cans are no longer bottomless. And then number 4 has the exact same lot description, which I'm not a massive fan of. I will also say, even though I do love how these apartment looks, I do think having the reduce and recycle is kind of a bummer on these lots, only because the new gameplay items are quite large and they're going to take up so much room in an apartment, and you can't place stuff outside unless they're forcing you to go outside and use the community spaces, which actually makes a lot of sense because this is a very community based pack, so maybe that's what the team were getting at. Our first family are the Harrises. Cletus and Faye, I love the name Cletus, found this heritage home in Grimm's Quarry for dirt cheap. Nothing seems wrong with it, and the Harrises weren't about to question a good deal. Cletus's free-spirited mother soon joined them, completing the big happy family. Mysteriously, their eldest son always wears a shameful bag on his head. Also, it doesn't seem like any of them, other than Faye, has a job, but the house is well furnished. What's going on here? And Minor Mansion. At the time, this was one of the largest homes built near the Quarry by a successful miner working the stones. Despite not being a real mansion, it enjoys heritage status today and is a solid home for any family looking for a place in Evergreen Harbor. Then we have the empty home, which is Rock Ridge Springs, a modest lot built near the remains of Grimm's Quarry. This home benefits from some of the fresh water unearthed by past digging in the quarry. It's also an eco lot, so this lot moves towards eco-friendliness faster than others, and a natural well. Spring runs under this lot, reducing utility bills and offering fresh clean water from the tap. Moving on to the industrial neighborhood, this is Port Promise, aka Middlesbrough, aka also has a hint of Manchester. Industrial northern cities in England do look like this, except unfortunately Manchester isn't surrounded by water. What was once a bustling trade port now holds a number of homes and businesses that pay homage to their industrial roots and aim to, as the local expression goes, keep Evergreen kooky. Whilst the actual port may no longer be running, the promise of something better remains. I have to say, this is my favorite area in this world. I love the builds. I think they're all really cool. I grew up in a town that was kind of like this, and so I'm a big fan. But let's get into a little bit more detail about Port Promise and the lot sizes. So there are actually 4 30 by 20 lots in this neighborhood. One of them is a bar, which is the one towards the back of this neighborhood. 3 of them are actually just regular residential homes. The one in the middle, which is a shipping container, that's actually not got anyone living in it when you first load up the game. It's where I had my gameplay family live, which you guys obviously will see in my gameplay video. And then the other 2 on either side of that one are both already have Sims living in them, like pre-made families. And then, of course, the community lot is a 40 by 30. As I said, I really like this area. I think the lots are really individual here. There are a couple that have like a few issues. I will say the empty community lots are empty, which I mean you can assume by looking at them, like they're gonna be abandoned. They were used for something else and now they're not, so they've just been left to the dirt, and it's up to your Sims to bring them back to their full potential. The shipping container one has an upstairs, which I get that they added it, but also it has like 1 sofa in it. So I'm like, why does this exist? And also, a problem I found with this is there's a grill up on the roof, which means that you have to go up a ladder to get to that grill because it's off the grid. But your Sims don't actually carry like trash down the ladder. They also don't like carry food down the ladder. So I don't really know how they expect you to use that lot unless you turn the upstairs into like a dining area, but then you still have to wash up and that's down in the kitchen. They don't even put it like in their inventories, climb down the ladders and then pull it back out of their inventories. So I definitely ran into some issues on that particular lot. It doesn't look great. It kind of is pretty empty. Whereas the others in this neighborhood like aren't that empty. Like they seem lived in and they have a lot of like individuality. They really seem to have decorated for the families that live there, which is really nice to see. Like I would say a lot of these homes do have personality, but I definitely ran into a lot of issues on the lot that I was playing on, which happened to be the shipping container one. This lot right here, the caboose, genuinely looks like my local train station. This old train station is now the perfect place to house a simple bar where people can get together and talk about a time when there was an old train station here. This is gonna turn into like a Weatherspoons or something, unless you're trying to make this green and then maybe not a Spoons, maybe more like a Bill's. Is that what it's called, that restaurant? I think it is. I was gonna say Bill's Kitchen, but I think it's just called Bill's. We have lesbians! Mary and Blossom are a couple of old-timers in this town. They're trying to spruce up the place, with Mary focused on her garden and Blossom painting up unused spaces. Age isn't on their side anymore. However, it's a good thing their adopted son Knox is fighting for the family name to help make the world a little more green. Unfortunately, sometimes he takes fighting a little too literally. So this is like the poster boy of this pack. We have seen Knox Greenberg an awful lot recently, and they live on Portsmouth Promenade, situated right past the entrance gate to Port Promise. This lot provides gorgeous views of the old port whilst within walking distance to most of the local landmarks. Like I said, this is my favorite area of this world. I think it's dingy, but also really beautiful in itself with all the water. Those views are incredible. This lot is actually empty once you load up the world, but I just plopped my sim down here. So this is the shipping views. To be honest, this lot isn't even officially zoned for residential living, but this affordable home of converted shipping containers, not to mention the views of the Sound, is the perfect place for anyone looking for a simple place to call home. The views on this bad boy, I had my sims living on this lot and they are gorgeous. Like the big windows that come with this just allow it to be insane. And also with it being off the grid, they obviously offer a lot of light. So we have the reduce and recycle lot trait, which means actively managing the trash output is a must. And then of course it is off the grid as well, which means that it doesn't have utility bills and you can't use like any electricity or plumbing. And finally for Port Promise, we have their community space, which is the waterfront, an old port building now owned by the community. The waterfront is always the next revitalization project, but seems to have a hard time getting the love and attention it deserves. That is until your sims move in. And it is a landfill lot, so this place is a dump. Trash accumulates on this lot. I said finally on the last lot as a joke because who could forget Bess and Jules? This is the Sterling Rico family. Bess and Jules are a power couple with big dreams. Big dreams about sweet, sweet money. A civil designer by trade, Bess placed herself in the perfect position to convince city officials and residents alike to enact programs that would benefit her bottom line. Her partner in crime, Jules, is a style influencer that loves fashion as much as he loves convincing people to buy his rejected styles. Kanye West too. Cheerful and charismatic, together they hustle around Evergreen Harbor like an entrepreneurial whirlwind. Yes, it's difficult for me to say that word, okay? Let's not mention it in the comments. And these two, who I bloody love, live in the old mill, which again is one of my favorite lots. I think these lots are amazing. This beautifully repurposed space that sits at the base of the Croffville Dam is a meeting place of past and present, as a modern home lives in the shell of a classic wood mill. And then the last neighborhood is Conifer Station. This is where you'll find like the clock tower that has been shown in the trailers. It's a little bit more suburban, I would say. What happens when the trains stop running? Downtown Evergreen, affectionately known to locals as Conifer Station, may be a bit quieter nowadays, but residents will tell you that the defunct train station and unsightly storage tanks hide a hard-working community eager to improve their little corner of the world. And like I said, this has the natural footprint, so this is kind of the middle ground between the other two neighborhoods. This one definitely has a range of different lot sizes, definitely more than the other neighborhoods. So the community lot again is a 40 by 30. We have a 20 by 15 lot, which is a small residential home currently that's unlived in. Then we have this big manor down the bottom, and the game told me that that is a 30 by 20. I don't know if it's like an optical illusion. That looks way bigger than a 30 by 20 to me. Like even with the other 30 by 20s on the lot, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just like the tall walls that make it look like an absolute monstrosity of a build. Like if any of these builds were Godzilla, that would be it. Like that is massive. And then again, 2 apartments here. Same kind of comments when it comes to the apartments as the other area, the Quarry area. At least one of them does have a balcony this time around. So, I mean, these new objects that we're getting in this pack, they're big. I'm not gonna lie. Like, most of the main gameplay objects, like the recycle machine, the water hydro pump, the ones that I can't remember right now, they're big flipping articles, and so trying to put them down on a balcony is going to take up a lot of room. So although I like the fact that we've got apartments and I do feel like they fit in with this world, there are also some kind of negative points to keep in mind. Like, you're probably, and maybe the Sims team did this so it kind of pushes you out of the house, gets you knowing your community more, and gets you actually voting on those centers, which I understand. If that was the decision made, then I understand it, because if you have like a maker space, then obviously you're gonna have stuff where you can then use those objects on that community space. So maybe that was the reason behind it. If so, I can understand it a bit more. And I do like the fact that apartments are here, and they're all done really nicely. I will say, once again, the apartments are finished really nicely. I think I just really like the build and buy mode stuff that comes with this pack, which is why I think everything looks really like fleshed out and actually kind of lived in. Starting off with their community space, which is Sprucewood Square, what used to be a gathering ground for Sims awaiting loved ones arriving on the train has seen better days, but the prime location means a few simple updates could have Sprucewood Square thriving once more. This is basically just like toilets. It's like a public toilet block, which I actually really like. It has a little bit of character behind its empty lot, which the other two don't really have. Then we have another empty lot, which is Canal Corner. This part really reminds me of Deansgate Locks in Manchester. A small slice of home with a yard, a view of the canal, and the memory of the chimes of yesteryear from the train station clock tower. This has the reduce and recycle lot trait, and also geothermal, so natural heating lowers utility bills by generating power and keeps any pools warm. And then we have even more lesbians. Who could ask for more? My little gay heart is so happy. It fits in very well with like the community love one another vibe. So this is the Tinker family. The talented but perpetually stressed Tina Tinker, I don't know if that's a play on Tina Turner, is a very successful freelance crafter. Her equally successful spouse, Yasmin, managed to convince her to move to Conifer Station with their daughter Olive. Tina takes on too much work, and Yasmin just wants her to relax and spend more time with the family. Meanwhile, curious little Olive loves nothing more than to admire her two mothers' works and dream of following in their footsteps. And they live in this massive house, which is called Pigulock Manor, built by railroad financier Gregory Pigulock during the early development of Evergreen Harbor. This mansion twice suffered damage from local storms before being declared as a historic landmark and being restored to its current glory. This is a big house. And then there's two more apartments. So you have Pinecrest Apartments 404. This cozy 2-bedroom apartment puts you right in the heart of Conifer Station with easy walking access to the local community space. Enjoy the view from the private balcony. So at least this one has a balcony where you can kind of put those oversized objects that come with this pack and like are the main feature. The other ones just don't sit well with me. And then again, 402 has pretty much the same description, but this one doesn't have a balcony, so they removed that. I don't know, I just kind of would have preferred them to have their own individual sort of, this just sounds like a rental person trying to sell you a house, which I mean I get, but it doesn't really give you any backstory to the actual apartments. Like the city living ones are all very different, whereas these ones just don't seem to be. They just seem to be like replicas of each other. And there we have it. There is my townie and world overview for Eco Lifestyle. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below, who is your favorite townie? Who are you looking forward getting to know if you're gonna get Eco Lifestyle? What's your favorite lot so far that you have seen? And like I said, I'll be going into a lot more detail in my gameplay video, which should be up very, very soon, hopefully within the next 1 to 2 hours. I'll be diving into all the features of Eco Lifestyle, playing through it, talking about the effects that pollution has, how the world's change, what the actual like townie NPCs do, all of that good stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for my gameplay video. And if you guys have any more questions that I may not have covered in this video, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'm also going to quickly throw in the end here. Yes, Eco Footprint, if you have Eco Lifestyle, does affect other worlds. I only, unfortunately, had base game installed with this. I know I asked you guys whether you wanted extra packs. We unfortunately couldn't do it this time around because obviously this whole event content was very different to physically being there at EA with the gurus. So I only unfortunately got to record this and base game, but for Willow Creek, everything is neutral. Every neighborhood is neutral when you start up the game, minus the park lot, which actually has a green eco footprint because it's a park. Same goes for Oasis Springs, and then the whole of Newcrest is just neutral. So that's how it affects the other worlds. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Big thank you to EA for providing me with this access, and I will speak to you all in my gameplay video. Bye guys!